if I can beat it, Thomas Mars board in chess. So let's get right into it. I'm playing this with white pieces. First I just to move my pawn to c4. It moved its knight to f6. Now I can also develop my knight to f3. It moved its pawn to c6. So now I can also bring up my other knight to c3. It moved its pawn to d5. So I can capture it with my pawn. It recaptured my pawn with its pawn. So now see, in this position I should move my pawn to d4. It also moved its knight to c6. Now I can develop my bishop to f4. It moved its pawn to a6 to prevent my bishop from coming to b5. So now I should move my pawn to e3. It moved its bishop to g4, pinning my knight to the queen. So I should move my bishop to d3. It moved its knight to h5. I can move my pawn to a3, attacking this bishop. It captured my knight with its bishop, so I can recapture it with my queen. It also captured my bishop with its knight. So now I think that I should capture it with my pawn instead. It also captured my pawn on d4 with its knight. But now it is attacking my queen. So I should move my queen to e3, attacking it. It moved its pawn to e5. So I can just capture it with my pawn and attack this queen. It retreated its knight to c6. I saw that it can move its pawn to d4 and fork both of my queen and my knight. So to prevent that, I should move my queen to f4. It moved its pawn to g5, attacking my queen, and it is being protected by its queen, so I can't capture it. But what I can do for this move is that I can move my queen to f6. It captured my queen with its queen, so I should recapture it. It moved its pawn to d4, attacking my knight. So I should move my knight to e4. It moved its rook to c8. So now I can finally castle to the king's side. It moved its knight to e5, attacking my bishop like this. Try to get this bishop out of here, because if I win, then my knight would be able to do a deadly fork with the knight to d6 of the rook and the king. So it would be prevented if that bishop would not be here. But now for this move I shall move my rook to c1. It moved its rook to c6. So now I can capture its rook with my rook. It recaptured my rook with its pawn. Now I should capture that pawn on a6 with my bishop. It moved its pawn to g4. So I think that I should capture it with my pawn. It moved its king to d7. I should move my pawn to g5. It moved its bishop to d6, protecting its knight. So I should move my pawn to a4. It moved its rook to b8. So now I can move my rook to d1, threatening this pawn. It moved its pawn to c5, defending it. But now I should try to capture it, but I can't with my knight. Actually I can, but it will not be a good move. So now for this move I should move my pawn to a5. It moved its knight to g4. So I should move my bishop to c4. It moved its knight to e5. So now I should move my bishop to e2. It moved its rook to b3. So now I should capture its bishop with my knight. It recaptured my knight with its king. Now I can move my rook to a1. And now I should not capture this pawn. So I should just move my bishop to d1. It captured my pawn on b2 with its rook. So I should advance my pawn to a6, a7. And now finally it moved its rook to b8. But see, now in this position, so I should try to capture this rook and promote my pawn. It recaptured my newly promoted queen with its king. Now I should try to promote one of my pawns. But before that I should move my pawn to f4 attacking this knight. It moved its knight to c5. So I can again move my bishop to a4 attacking it. It moved its king to c7 protecting it, but I can move my rook to c1 attacking this pawn. It moved its king to d6 also protecting this pawn extra. So I should move my rook to d1 attacking this pawn. It moved its pawn to c4 protecting it. So I should move my rook to c1 attacking it. It moved its king to d5. So I should capture its knight with my bishop. It recaptured my bishop with its king. Now I can capture this pawn on c4 with my rook and check the king. It moved its king to d5. So I can move my rook to c3 attacking this pawn. It moved its king to e4 attacking my pawn and defending this pawn. So to get rid of that I should move my rook to c7 attacking this pawn and with the x-ray also this pawn. It captured my pawn on f4 with its king. So I should move my pawn to g6. It captured my pawn with its pawn. So now I should capture its pawn with my rook. It moved its king to g5. So I should move my king to f2. And now it to e1. It moved its king to e6. So now I should try to defend this pawn. But I unfortunately can't. So I should move my rook to f8. It moved its pawn to g5. So I should move my pawn to f7. It moved its king to e7. But now I should move my rook to d8. It captured my pawn with its king. So I should recapture its pawn. It moved its king to g7. So I should move my rook to g3. It moved its king to g6. So I should move my king to f2. And now I should capture that pawn and check the king with my rook. And now again it moved its king to e7. So I should advance my pawn to g4, g5, g6, g7, and it moved its king to e6 attacking my rook. So I should move my rook to f3. It moved its king to d6. So I can now finally promote my pawn to a queen, which is my best move. Moved its king to c5. So I should move my rook to f4. Now my queen to g5. Rook to f6. Queen to g7. And now finally my rook to f8 to do checkmate. So let's review the game. So now it is analyzing the game.
Through in the endgame with some strong maneuvers.
So now I will just let you listen to the coach what it is saying because it will give a better explanation.
The English often catches players off guard and can lead to strong queenside pressure. This prepares a safe kingside castle for your king. Doubling your pawns weakens your pawn structure. Your best move was to recapture a piece. You are losing a pawn this way. The only move, and you found it. You calmly step the knight out of trouble. You're going to end up losing a bishop. You captured a free pawn. Your best move was to push a passed pawn. You took advantage of your opponent's mistake and are winning. Your passed pawn is one step closer to promotion. You promote your pawn to a queen. Great finish. You've secured the win with a ladder mate.
So I hope that you liked the video. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Please comment how you thought the video was. And have a great day.